GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
I'm Cody Love.
I'm TC Cooper.
And together, we are
The Process.
And you're listening to Robbie Vegas' podcast.
And watching. What's up, Rock Soldiers? This is the Rockstar Robbie Vegas coming at you with another episode of the All Bets Are Off podcast. And today we have, for the third time, I believe, Mr. Chris Cayden, one of UPW's finest, but a road dog in the indie wrestling scene. You can see a lot of his matches on IWTV. But today we're not doing an interview. We're not going to be discussing anything that was thought of in advance. We're just going to shoot the shit and see what happens. And I know that it's going to be entertaining, and you guys are going to laugh your ass off. So, before we get started, I do want you to check out Death Comes Lifting at deathcomeslifting.com or join their Patreon page and become a member of the Lifting Dead Army. This is for people like us who like to stay in shape, lift, live a healthy lifestyle, but we also love horror movies, heavy metal, and punk rock. This is fitness for the misfits, and I need you guys to check it out because they are one of our sponsors that make the show possible. So, we already got Cayden waiting, so let's just jump into this thing. Can you hear me?
Oh, goddamn fucking there it is. Yay.
We're already recording because we have nothing planned. We're just going to fucking talk.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Well, I figure that you've been on 3 times now. We did the interview, and we did a follow-up interview. So now it's like, let's just see what happens.
Okay. I'm always good with that. Fucking run of the mouth, and yeah, we'll see where this takes us.
I guess the first thing I want to ask you is, how's the school doing? And when I say the school, I'm of course talking about Flower City Wrestling Academy.
That's the only school I'm part of that I know of.
That was for the listeners, not
really
you.
Well. It's going really well. We actually got some new students through this hard times of COVID returning, but just very interesting people, nevertheless. But hey, they're interested in the art of wrestling, and Maddox taking them under their wing because, as you know, he does the beginners. He's doing a great job with them, and when they're ready, they start moving up to my class.
Okay. So by the time this airs, UPW will have already made their return, and it's a pretty exciting time. But I need to know, are you worried that there's going to be another shutdown and we're going to have to put it on the back burner again?
I'm not worried, but I think it will happen just because there's so many aspects, especially of wrestling in the state of New York now. And sorry, this guy is being a piece of shit. Just cut me off. And he just stared at me because he wanted to he just flicked me off. Oh, my God.
I mean, if you want to kick his ass, we'll record it.
This gets so much better. All right. Oh, now he's going to break in front of me. Oh, so good. All right. Like I said, it's going to happen because people aren't taking this shit seriously. And aspects of pro wrestling, yes. In New York State, well, as you know, insurance has gone up. Ambulances are hard to find because, well, it's a rarity now if you're an EMS or an EMT worker, and it's not easy to get a ambulance anymore. So it's kind of fucked up that they're asking us for this, yet there isn't enough. I don't know if you just heard my alarm in my car. The guy just jammed his brakes in front of me, and I almost hit him.
Oh boy, we're about to record a real fight right here.
Great, it's great. Everything's great. It's going fucking great. But yeah, no, it's gonna happen. I'm not afraid, but I do think the show will happen. But I think afterwards, it's gonna go back.
And I've been thinking the same thing, and I don't know why people aren't taking it seriously after the last year and a half, almost 2 years at this point. But I think we've already proven that it's a real thing and it's a fucking problem. So why we aren't dealing with it, I just can't wrap my head around it, because it is hurting professional wrestling and professional wrestlers, because this is our livelihood.
It's hurting everything in a whole. I literally just came over it. I've been very meticulous in the way I act. I wear a mask I'm on the road a lot. I still wrestle, but, I haven't taken as many bookings as I normally took. With that said, I'm literally just coming over having COVID. I was bedridden for almost, I don't know how many weeks.
Wow. So you know how serious it is because you've been there.
Yeah, it's no joke.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you see wrestling ever getting back to normal? And what we consider normal?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a new way of living.
It just doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. It's been almost 2 years, and professional wrestling and music have taken huge hits. I mean, the entertainment industry as a whole.
As a whole, the food and beverage industry, oh, shit. Everything is taking hits. It's not going anywhere. It's the new way of life. It's having to deal with it and move on with your life. And, I'm just a lucky one. I am vaccinated, but at the same time, I got it, and it was no joke. I didn't get it as bad as others, and I'm very happy, but, I also have a baby at home, and my baby got it, and I wasn't too happy about that.
Oh, wow.
But by the grace of God, she's doing better. She's doing much better.
Oh,
so, she got hit with the fucking kit and caboodle. She got RVB, that thing that's going around with children.
Yes.
She got that, and this is the second time.
Oh, my God. And that's rough, too.
And she got hit with COVID. So, luckily, she was asymptomatic.
Oh, okay. And there's no vaccines for kids that young, right?
Yeah, no, you can't get vaccinated yet.
Okay, I thought so. That's rough, man, especially for somebody like you who's a road dog in the wrestling business, because you're always going to be somewhere and you're always going to take the bookings. Like you said, you dialed it back a little bit, but how could you not? Like, that's been your life for how many years now?
Going on 20.
Yeah, that's a rough change to abruptly have to just, like, shift gears like that. And I know for me, I just came up on a decade, and I was like you. I was just taking bookings and going all over the place, and then all of a sudden it was like, by the way, you can't do anything. And
you can't move, you can't cross borders, you can't do anything.
Right. I was really hoping once, the numbers started dropping that we were going to get back to actually normal, but I think you're right. I think this is the new way of doing things.
It started getting better, it did, but, the forecast was it's going to get worse before it gets better. It got okay, it was okay, and then next thing you know, shit hit the fan, strains of new shit came out, and we're back to square one.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. So, outside of wrestling, we know you've been on the show 3 times. We've covered the school. We've covered your career. But we also covered that Cayden loves Jaws.
Oh, my God, I love Jaws.
So, I have a question for you then, because you love Jaws. You love sharks. Have you seen the new Eli Roth film? It's a documentary called Finn.
I have not.
So this is on Discovery Plus, and we know Eli Roth is a big horror movie guy, and that's what he writes and directs and all that. Well, he was so appalled when he did a few days on Shark Week with the way that sharks are going to eventually become extinct because people are killing them for their fins.
They're portrayed like they're villains, yeah.
Yes, and now there's a market for their fins and their cartilage. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that all of these things, like people eat shark meat soup, and it's super bad for humans, but they're marketing them as doing them a favor by killing these man-eaters, and he made a documentary about it to try and stop this from happening. And I think you need to watch it, and we need to review it on the show.
I would be down. I would absolutely be down.
I think Eli Roth is amazing, and the fact that he took the time to not make a horror movie, but make a documentary that's pretty horrible in itself speaks volumes for what's going on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would definitely want to check this out.
Setting that aside, let's just talk. By the time this is released, we're getting close to spooky season. We're getting into Halloween here.
Yeah, buddy.
So, what are you watching this year? What do you got going on? If you're like me, you're getting ready already. So, are you subscribing to Shudder? Are you pulling out some DVDs? What do you got going on?
I'm pulling out. I'm definitely going on. I'm not a fan of Shudder. I seen some stuff on it, and I was like, all right, this is trash. But I do like pulling out some old school DVDs. I like going into like Hulu to try to see what they got when it comes to horror. But I'm a classic guy, and I got to start going. I got to do the Michael Myers. I got to do the Jason, because once it got past the first two, it was fucking notoriously bad. Then, I gotta hit Jason X because that's just fucking trash. Jason vs. Freddy, Said Nightmare. Of course, I do Jaws. Little known fact, yours truly loves to hit Leprechaun every so often.
Oh, nice. Yeah. See, so you are the horror guy like me who loves the slashers, even if they're bad.
Yeah, I think the bad ones are great.
Me too. Me too.
It's just so good. Like, there are some horror flicks that you're like, how did these get made? Like, I could take my fucking phone and record it, and it's better. Like, and I'm not even talking about film quality. I'm talking about actors.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's so bad.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, do you think I watch Leprechaun because they're good? Hell no. I watch Leprechaun because it makes me laugh, and there's funny kill scenes, and it's just a fucking blast.
It's fucking horrendous, but it's great.
So who's your favorite slasher?
Oh, that's a hard question. All right. Oh, man. I gotta go with Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger was... I liked the original. I didn't care when it started, like, he started really becoming, like, this comedian type of fucking slasher, but, it was alright. The original is what got... Have you ever seen A New Nightmare?
I have seen A New Nightmare. I didn't hate it.
You saw how... you hated it?
No, I said I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. No, alright, good, because I felt like what they tried to do was what I really liked, like, they tried to make Krueger a lot darker, and I was a fan of it. But, the original Freddy Krueger, not the remake one that they did, that right there is a movie that deserves to get fucking lit up in flames and thrown in the shitter. That was fucking horrible.
I agree. That was probably, of all the remakes that have been coming out, that may be the worst one. And when I say maybe, that means definitely.
Yeah, that was definitely the worst one.
I didn't like it.
Even Friday the 13th remake was not bad. No,
it wasn't. And it caught a lot of flack from people, but I thought it did a great job of rolling the first few movies into one. And it was great. It really was great. I mean...
I gotta say, I'm a big fan of, I can't think of the fucking name of the movie at the moment. By the way, my memory has gotten worse since COVID. It sucks, but my short-term memory has gotten really bad. So if I kind of forget what I'm talking about, just remind me.
That's just 20 years of wrestling. That's what that is.
Yeah, that too. I got dropped in my head a couple times. There's a fucking Hatchet. Whoever the bad guy is in Hatchet.
Yes, Victor Crowley.
That's it. Thank you. Yes. Boom. Those two were my faves.
Dude, Hatchet is probably... It's up there for me in my favorite series. Like, I love Scream. I love Friday the 13th. I love all the slashers, except for Chucky. I'm like an odd guy when it comes to that.
You're not a fan of Chucky?
I'm not. I just... I think... The series gets better as it goes, in my opinion. When he starts becoming more funny and, like, talking shit, I'm kind of more about it. But, like, the first movie, I was like, man, fuck this little thing, man. Just kick this motherfucker. Like, what the hell?
Punch this little motherfucker across the room.
Yeah, and he's not even like Leprechaun where he's got, like, magic and shit. He's just a plastic toy. It's like, what the fuck, man? But, like, later on, I kind of get more in.
Yeah, the later on one's definitely much better.
Yeah. But, like when Hatchet came out, I remember, all right, I'm going to date myself real quick. I'm walking through Blockbuster, and I look over, and I see they had a bin. You probably remember they used to do in the middle of the store 4 DVDs for $20. And
yes, I remember.
Yeah, so I walk up, and I see a movie with Robert Englund on the cover, 2001 Maniacs, and I see Hatchet. And they're both new movies that I'd never heard of, and I loved horror even back then. And I just bought them. Never saw them before, just bought them. And ever since then, I was like, Hatchet's one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. I actually just watched it a couple days ago again.
So good. So good.
Actually, funny story for you. I just met Kane Hodder and Danielle Harris, and they both star in the Hatchet series. So.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Is he still fucking big as shit, or did he lose the size?
No, he's still pretty big, and he looks good. And I don't know how old he is, but I know he's pretty up there, and, I couldn't believe it.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and both of them were super nice, and keep an eye out because they might be on the show. Just saying.
Ooh, baby, that'd be what's up. Little fucking little tidbit right there. But the fact that you brought Blockbuster up, that was where I would get my Halloween DVDs or VHS tapes from.
Yes, right. Hey,
so good.
But you know what? Speaking of Halloween, are you going to go see Halloween Kills?
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt.
Now, I'm excited for that, specifically to see it in a theater. So if we do run into another shutdown, I hope it's after I see Halloween Kills.
Oh my God. When does Halloween Kills come out?
October, mid-October, I think. I'm going to look it up as we're talking right now.
See, that's going to piss me off because if I don't get to see Ghostbusters after this whole pushback bullshit, I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be like, I am sincerely going to be legitimately pissed off.
Well, it looks like Halloween Kills is hitting theaters October 15th.
Oh, God. All right. Fucking Ghostbusters is in, I think, November.
Yes, I think it is too. And then, of course, we know that the new Scream is coming out in January. So there's like a lineup of movies that need to be seen in a theater.
Yeah, this is true. Definitely interested in Halloween Kills. I don't know. Did you see the themes? I guess Carpenter did the music again, of course. And he did it with his son, I want to say.
Oh, really?
It's the theme from the preview. From the commercial, that's pretty badass. If you haven't heard it, check it out.
It's the one they use in the trailer?
Yes.
Yes, I did hear that.
There's a whole team. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. The music is part of what makes these movies great.
Oh.
I mean,
absolutely. As soon as you hear Jason, that heavy breathing.
Yep.
Or you hear that little jingle because of Freddy Krueger. Or you hear that theme song with Michael Myers. You know shit's about to go down.
Oh, yeah. And think about this, too. We're dropping all these names of these horror icons. These movies came out... Well, that was my bad.
Uh-oh.
These movies came out 40 years ago. And they're still the measuring stick.
Yeah.
In the realm, since we're talking about Halloween right now and these horror icons, in the realm of remakes... The Rob Zombie Halloweens were not very good either.
I was not a fan of them. I didn't care that they made him. Rob Zombie has a knack for making the bad guy. You kind of want to feel bad for him, and or her. But I don't want to feel bad for Michael Myers. I don't want to know that he had this shit upbringing. I want to know that he's just a fucking piece of shit. And he's a devil, and fucking he kills people, and yeah.
See, I agree with you, and a lot of people argue with me on that the backstory was cool. I don't think so. I liked it more when it was just like this little kid lived in this nice house in this nice neighborhood, and he's a fucking asshole. You know what I mean?
No, I don't want to feel bad for the kid. I want to be the one that's like rooting him to get fucking killed.
Yes.
The bad guy.
Yes, exactly.
Don't fuck my shit up, yo.
I also didn't like how, I don't remember if they brought it to light in the first one or the second one of the remakes, but he didn't want to kill his sister. He wanted to be a family with his sister. Like, no, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, I was, like, again, he has a knack for making them, you want to feel bad. And I was like, no one's ready. Don't do that. He's a bad guy. That's it.
I totally agree.
He's a fucking murderer, and keep it that way.
I totally agree. All right. Now, we're going to curve away from Halloween for a second because there's some big stuff happening right now that we're going to get your opinion on because the pro wrestling world right now is fucking going nuts. And I personally don't care what anybody watches or what you like and what you don't like. Just watch something. But the big news right now is that CM Punk signed with AEW. He's back after 7 years, 8 years, whatever it was. I personally, I'm like, all right, cool. I was a Punk fan when he was around. I thought he was a little bit of a crybaby afterwards, but whatever. And now everybody's, blowing up about it. And I'm kind of sick of hearing about it, but I know it's big news, and it's going to be a moment that we talk about forever. And as a performer, I appreciate that more than anything. Whether you like Punk, you don't like Punk, where he's working, you don't like where he's working, doesn't matter. Because this is one of those moments that in 20 years, we're going to sit back and go, wasn't that fucking cool?
Absolutely.
And I was wondering where you stand on Punk being back and how you feel about AEW. Do you think they'll use him correctly? Do you think that, it's going to be like a touch and go kind of thing? Where are you at with that?
I think it was probably the smartest pickup they could have done, because with that, you are on, you guys have already been on the scene. AEW is on the scene now, but with a seismic pickup of the American superstar CM Punk, and he's been out of the game for so long. It was just they were on the map, so to say, but now they're fucking bam. Now they're right in your face. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it was a giant pickup, and I think having him on the roster as now, because I don't think he's as bitter. And by that, I mean, he had issues with the WWE, still has issues with them. But the fact of the matter is, that's business, baby. And he brings in did you hear about the whole Jim Cornette fucking praise?
Yes, I did, and it floored me.
Yeah, he praised the fact. He said, and I quote, just the mention of his name, not the fact that he was signed, not the fact that he was even, just the mention that he might be there, sold out that fucking arena.
Absolutely.
And he's like, if you can do that, you're money.
Well, I gotta say, Punk is absolutely, regardless of who he pissed off or who still is a fan and who isn't, they did it in his hometown, which was smart. They didn't make the people wait. It was the very first thing to kick off the show, which was smart. And
which I think was brilliant, because it was, boom, it's in your face.
Yes.
It's out there. Let's fucking go forward now.
Yes, and do I think he's one of the most popular superstars of all time? Absolutely. And do I think he's going to have some killer matches with some of the younger talent that AEW has? Absolutely. I think it was a huge blow to WWE, and their answer was to bring back Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar both at SummerSlam, which both came out to huge pops, but there's no trumping something that big. There's just not.
No, there was no trumping that pop for CM Punk. That was probably one of the biggest pops ever.
Ever.
That's up there with a Stone Cold Steve Austin pop.
Yes.
I think it succeeded in getting bigger than Stone Cold Steve Austin pop.
Absolutely. And I think that Punk, I don't think that he held out that long on purpose. I honest to God think he was really bitter at the wrestling business until recently.
I agree with you. I think he was bitter at the wrestling business, but I also think he had to take care of himself. Like he said, he wasn't physically, mentally, or even emotionally ready to really step foot in the ring. And when he left the WWE and he was able to put himself back, I think he was like, then I was ready.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think this is going to be huge. And whether or not, let's say in 10 years, AEW has a WCW-like finish to it. I'm not saying I'm wishing that or that it's going to happen, but that moment will still live on forever, and that means that that company just made its imprint on the wrestling business forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anybody that stands out to you in AEW that you think that he's going to draw money with, essentially?
You're going to laugh at this, but I think this is going to draw money just for the simple fact that they fucking hate each other now. Mm-hmm. Him and Colt Cabana.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, they do not like each other.
Right.
Former best friend.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. And now they're in the same company. They're in
the same company. And yeah, see, so Colt is in the Dark Order, right? He's kind of a forgotten piece. Mm-hmm. But I think the Dark Order is going to be taken over by a little known person by the name of was it Rotunda? I believe his name is.
Oh. So you see that coming down the line too, then?
Oh, that's going to happen. That's happening. We know Danielson signed.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. But, yeah, I think money can be made from CM Punk. Well, CM Punk and anyone on the roster. Well, not Jericho, because I've already seen him in Jericho.
Well, let me ask you this, though. AEW seems to be taking a very similar path to WCW, okay?
Okay.
Ted Turner was not a promoter. He just started a wrestling company. And Tony Khan, same thing. You know, at the time when WCW started, a lot of people behind the scenes were getting their way because they were already made stars somewhere else. Hulk Hogan, you know, shit like that. Now, being in the age group that we're in, we lived through that. from the very first Nitro to the very last, we were watching.
Yep.
Are you seeing a lot of similarities like I am? Because that's what makes me think that mistakes are being made.
I don't. Yes, I see similarities, but it's different because the ages of the stars. Hogan, he could still go when he went to WCW, but you got to remember he wasn't a young flipper, you know. Also, with that, you know, you had Macho Man again. His age, like these were guys that were coming out of their prime. They weren't in their prime yet. Well, no, they were out of their prime. They weren't. They could still go, nevertheless.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're getting guys that can still go. They're not old. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to say old as in, oh, well, they were at this age. They were just, they weren't the taste anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. And with that said, now you have these other guys, like a Miro, who's young. A CM Punk, he's up there, but he's got years, because remember, he took 7 years off. So his body is recuperated.
Yes. I see where you're going with that.
Card, nevertheless, hasn't been reached.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I see where you're going with that too. And also, things have changed to where guys are taking care of their bodies more outside of the ring than they were then. You know, the Hogan days, everybody was just a huge meathead and they just wrestled and that was it. But now guys are doing like yogas and massage therapy and, you know, chiropractic care and things like that.
Yep.
And a lot of these guys can still go in their older age. But think of WCW as well. They had a lot of young guys and they just were underutilized at the time for the guys like Hogan and Savage, because Jericho was there.
Yeah, and he was underutilized.
Yeah. I could think of a bunch more. Saturn, Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio, Psychosis. Like, those were the guys that I was tuning into WCW for. But
yeah, no, I hear you. Like, you also had, you got to think about it, you had like guys like Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking great.
Yeah,
funny.
Absolutely.
And guess what? Let's put Glacier on television because of Mortal Kombat.
Right. Right, exactly.
I think AEW has good talent. I do see similarities, but I also see complete differences. So
I ask you this for multiple reasons because, like I said, you grew up through it just like I did. But you're also a veteran of the business right now. So you're looking at it from somebody who was there and somebody who's on the inside currently. So
yeah, no, I get it. I completely get it. It's just, you see these guys, they're getting signed. Even though AEW said they're not going to go the WCW path, I'm like, come on, man. If you want stars that have kind of been, think about this. They're signing guys, not guys that are like great. They reached the pinnacle in WWE. No, they were given the possible short stick of things. They didn't really reach to where they could have reached. As Vince likes to say, you gotta reach for the brass ring. Yeah, well, they didn't give them that opportunity. And now, here at AEW, we're gonna build them like that.
Yeah, no, you're right. So, a couple more things for you before I let you go here. Two more. The first one is, do you ever see AEW overtaking the WWE in a ratings war? Yes, absolutely. Is this going to light a fire under WWE where we're going to start seeing maybe more of an attitude-ish type era? I don't think we'll ever go back to what it was back then. It was real raunchy and like reckless, but just more of like an edge to it because of the competition.
I don't think you're going to, because unless Vince, and I say this in the nicest way, gets out of the business or happens to pass away, and he has to if he dies, but if he's still in the business, I don't think the WWE is ever going to really recuperate. On top of that, I think they're going to sell the company. But that's another whole story in itself.
That's a rumor flying around, and we're going to see because there has been a lot of releases this year.
Yeah, and it's because they got to get it, they want to make it as much money as they possibly can. And, what better way?
Well, listen, I appreciate...
Release.
I appreciate the insight on the wrestling business and talking some Halloween slasher movies with you, but we have to have you come back on to discuss Finn, so I'm going to need you to watch that very soon.
All right, you know what? I will absolutely watch it. I'm definitely going to check it out as soon as I can.
All right, cool. And when you do, you let me know and you come back.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're breaking like all kinds of records here for how many appearances on the show.
Listen, It's what I do, baby. It's what I do.
You know, they were like, who are you going to get to follow D. Snyder? I said, Chris Cayden.
And they're like, why?
Maddock was like, no.
Maddock was like, don't do that. Don't do it.
I'm not going to say he was upset that you were the intro to his episode, but he was upset that you were the intro to his episode.
Yeah, it's all right. He's a piece of shit. It's okay.
Well, listen, man, plug all your social media, plug Flower City Wrestling social media, plug UPW social media, and I appreciate you, dude.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You can find me at the Chris Cayden on pretty much every piece of social media there is. I have my own website, thechriscayden.com. I always update it. Got all videos and everything on there, links to where I'm going to be at, if I'm going anywhere. And then, of course, Flower City Wrestling Academy. I am one of the trainers over there. I'm proud of the kids. You can check it out, Flower City Wrestling Academy. Just Google it up, and it'll pop up. It's probably the first thing that pops up. I enjoy my time, as always, and I will be sure to check out Finn, my good man.
Absolutely, and by the time this airs, I probably saw you at UPW, so it was good to see you.
Yeah, it was definitely great to see you.
All right, man, take care.
Yeah, take it easy, brother.
Always a pleasure having Cayden on the show. He has an open invite. Cayden can come back, talk about whatever he wants, and we are going to review Finn, the documentary on Discovery Plus by Eli Roth, so be on the lookout for that. But I cannot let you go today without letting you know that this episode is brought to you by Anguished Allure magazine, founded in Buffalo and available to you anywhere. This is Buffalo's first and only horror magazine celebrating Halloween all year long. Anguished Allure magazine features gothic and horror-themed businesses, artists, and photographers. If you'd like to buy a copy and support them or submit your own artwork or products, please reach out to them at anguishedalluremagazine.com. Now, if you remember my back-to-school horror episode from last week, I talked a little bit about Anguished Allure with my guest Mike Burns, and this is such a cool magazine, guys. And I'm not just saying that because I had features in it, but because I truly believe that the people who work on this magazine and the people who are in this magazine are truly wonderful people. That being said, I do want to make it clear that yes, this is based out of Buffalo, but it is available all over. So if you check out the website, you can place your order, get a copy of the magazine, and let us know what you think and let them know what you think. I always put the link in the show notes, and aside from that, I do tag them in the social media posts on Instagram, and I want you guys to know I truly do support this magazine, and I would like you to do so also. So thank you all very much, and we will catch you next week.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.